See if this scenario sounds familiar. You learn something new. Maybe it's a phrase or a lick or a chord or a scale or something. You get it on the fretboard. But then when you want to play it or evoke it, revisit it, you have to go back to where you learned it. Doesn't it make logical sense that if we put the time and the effort into learning something new, that we want to get the absolute most out of that information? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today you'll learn to move it or lose it. When we leave things where we learned them on the neck, we inadvertently lock them there. But if we want real mastery, real ownership of something, that suggests that we could play that thing anywhere on the neck. But that isn't always the case, and sometimes we fail to take the next step into expanding that knowledge all over the fretboard. The fix for this is actually a method or an idea that you can leverage for the rest of your journey as a musician who plays the guitar. I'm going to explain why this is important and expose the benefits of moving things around the neck. Then we're going to zoom in and I'm going to give you a couple of examples directly on the fretboard of how to do this. There are a couple of really clear benefits. Once you start doing this, you get better fretboard knowledge. Once you get that fretboard knowledge and you've been to those different places and you've had that experience, you get more confidence in your command of the instrument. Once you have more confidence and command of the instrument, you become a more versatile and creative musician. So there's some pretty obvious benefits. Let's zoom in and I'll show you how to do this. All right, so let me show you a couple methods for taking some information that you already know, something that you really know very, very well, and moving it around the neck, pushing it around the fretboard to really gain some ownership over it. I'm going to start with something very, very simple, just this D chord. Now I'm just going to use the top three strings. That's enough information for a D chord, D, F sharp, and A. We don't need that low D string. So I'm just going to take that chord voicing and I'm going to say to myself, I want to be able to play this exact set of notes. That exact voicing, I want to be able to play it anywhere on the neck, right? So here's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to take these three strings and I'm going to find these three notes on the next set of three strings. Once I do that, I'm going to do it again for this set of three strings and then this set of three strings. And then I'll be able to play this chord anywhere on the fingerboard, right? Here's how we get started. Take the top note on the E string. Since we're changing string sets, we got to find the top note now on the B string. There it is on the 7th fret, right? Go to the next note in the chord. Take that down to the next string. It's on the 7th fret again. Take this last note that's on the G string, stick that on the D string. It happens to be on the 7th fret as well. Now, you may recognize this as part of your D bar chord. Maybe you know triads, and you can see that these are the same, right? It's the method that's important here, right? Not the example. I've got this voicing now on another set of strings. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this voicing and I'm going to stick it on this set of strings, right? Take the top note, happens to be on the B string, find it on the G string. There it is right there. Next note that's on the G string here, stick that down onto the D string. Finally, take the note that's on the D string and put it on the A string. Same exact notes, right? But now I've got a few different places to play it. Same thing, one last time, I'm taking these notes, that same voicing, I'm going to find them on this last set of strings. Top note happens to be on the G string, we're going to find that on the D string. The note that's on the D string, we're going to find that on the A string. And the note that's on the A string, we're going to put that on the E string. All the same notes. Right? So now I've got that voicing anywhere on the neck. Pretty simple example, but you see the methodology, right? Now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use a scale. I'm going to use, let's say we learned a new scale, or we have a scale fragment that we just learned. I'm going to take this same D chord. I'm going to simply start on the root and play a D major scale up to that fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go down an octave, because that's in the chord too, that fifth, and then end on the root. So the phrase looks like this. Starts in that middle note, right, that root note, uses that note from the chord and this note from the chord, right? So I know that I've got it here. Now I'm going to go to that next string set, find the same thing here. Right? Starts in the middle of the chord, but you can see that it's fingered differently, right? This is different than this. That's because of that B string. We took the information that was on the B string and we've moved it down to the G string. And we took the information that was on the E string and we moved it down to the B string. So the fingering has changed. One more time here. Middle of the chord. The fingering has changed again. These are things we want to pay attention to. And once we normalize that, and we can do that on the fly, then we really get fretboard freedom. Since there's no information on the B string here, this is going to be fingered the exact same way. Right, now I've got that phrase, that scale fragment I learned, I got it, and I can play it anywhere on the neck, right? That's one way of doing it. Just moving things to different string sets, right? You then find it all over the fretboard. Super, super handy. All right, let me give you another example. Let's say we're playing the blues in A. We've got our A minor pentatonic scale. I'm going to play a phrase on those top two strings, right? This is the blues lick of the day, the thing I just learned off of YouTube. Right? I love it. It sounds great. I want to know that lick all over the place. Well, I can certainly, transpose it. Like if I'm in the key of B or G, I've got it, right? But it's in that same root position. I really want to own this lick, so I'm going to do something different with it. Something I do all the time is just change the fingering. So this fingering starts on my ring finger, right? I simply say to myself, I want to start this on my index finger and thereby find all the notes for the riff above my index finger. So I'm no longer in this position. Now I'm up here, right? Watch what happens to the riff. The fingering completely changes, right? Here it's 2 notes per string, right? A little box pattern, but here it's 1 note here, 1 note there, and 2 notes on this string, right? What if I did it the same way as I did before and just take it and put it on a new set of strings? I've got to change my fingering there because it's shifted because of that B string. Maybe use my middle finger now. Take this one up to the next set of strings. Start it with a different finger. Right? Now I've really got command of that phrase, right? Now, not only can I play it in any key, I can play it anywhere on the neck. And no matter where I am, if I hear that phrase or I really want to invoke it, I don't have to be in a position. I don't have to go back to where I learned it. It's not stuck there anymore. I've taken it and I've moved it around the neck and now I really own it. Okay, the idea and the methods here are the important thing, not just the examples, right? The idea of moving things. How do you move things around the neck? Just change string sets. Change the fingering. See what happens. Get curious, push things around the neck. I've tabbed this lesson out, but the tabs are actually not really important, right? It is the method, the idea that's really king here. This exploration ultimately leads to more comfort on the neck, right? More capability. Your confidence is going to increase. And ultimately, this leads to an increased and enhanced musicianship, right? Overall musicianship increases when you do this. I still do this all the time, and every time I do, I learn something new. Okay, I hope this lesson has been helpful for you. I hope you found it interesting. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.